going on, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of Yakking Live. Today we're going to be talking about off-season fishing preparation, so let's get right into it.
Hey, this is Country Earl, and you're listening to Yakking Live with the Clay Kayak Crew.
Oh yeah, let's go. Let's go. Before we get into the episode, we'd like to take a moment to recognize our sponsor, DH Baits. DH Baits specializes in a variety of spinner baits and jigs. We use his baits and they never fail us. If you want a bait that will actually catch a fish, check out DH Baits on Facebook. With that being said, let's get back to the episode.
How's everybody doing tonight, boys?
Doing great.
Tired.
Well, so the topic today is off-season fishing preparations.
Yep.
I don't know about you guys, but I kind of feel like that's very, very important.
It is very important.
Games are won in the off season.
Yeah. Out here doing some dumbbell fly, like preparing those muscles for
It's like
casting.
them Gatorade commercials. They
Yeah.
slam the Gatorades down.
Well,
Sorry about that.
We love you, bending branches.
Love you, bending branches.
Anyways,
Anyways, off season. Back to what you were saying.
I don't know what's one of your favorite things to do.
Well, the off-season is really all about organizing, I believe. I think this is a time, for one, you need to order your new boat accessories. You know, that could be your fish finders, your trolling motors, your paddle holders, your rod holders, installing all that stuff. I feel like that's a great time to do that. That way in the springtime you can really focus on, getting out there and fishing.
I'm going to be like Nate and say, I'm going to be purchasing
He's going to
trolling motor.
some things this winter.
I'm going to be purchasing a 10-pound bass this year, so be in tune for that. Sorry, I'm a little slap happy.
So, here's one of my favorite things, and I feel like it's pretty important because it's one of the major pieces of gear that you use, and that's just like performing some springtime or pre-springtime reel maintenance. Because during the season, your reels actually kind of take a beating whether you believe it or not.
Yeah.
And so, for example, like I'll take each reel individually, and I will check them for damage. If something's damaged, I'll replace it. It's also a good time at this point to take all your side plates off. Use some sort of lubrication. I like the Lucas Oil reel maintenance lubrication. It seems to do really well.
Yeah.
And I'll, lube all the bearings up, all the magnets, all that good stuff, and just make sure nothing's got rust or anything on it.
Right.
Which is really important, especially if you saltwater fish. Like,
Yeah,
those reels they take a lot of beating from the salt.
definitely. It's kind of like if you take care of your stuff will take care of you.
Exactly.
When the season comes.
Yeah. It helps prolong the life of your equipment
Oh, yeah, definitely.
because we're not professionals. We can't go out here and
Yeah.
buy new reels every season.
Unless somebody wants to sponsor us.
Yeah.
Hint, hint.
Hint, hint.
Have a good seat.
Bending branches.
But once the maintenance is done, this is also a good time to unspool all your old fishing line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take all that stuff off. Even though like you replaced it the season before, that stuff the weather dry rots it and it gets brittle and breaks.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, why would you take a chance on missing like a PB, like a personal best, because of crappy fishing line?
That's happened to me before.
That's happened to me before too.
I've just threw them in the garage or something. And then later, in the 2 or 3 months later, I would go to fish or something, and I'd have a fishing line break off. And whenever you look at the spool, it's like, no wonder. You know what I'm saying? It's like dry rotted.
Yep.
And the sun, like the UV rays from the sun, even though it's on your reel, still affects especially fluorocarbon and mono.
Yep.
Braid's not so bad because braid's really strong. But fluorocarbon and mono takes a beating from the elements.
Yep.
Yeah. And, once that's done, you got all that stuff maintenance up, got your fishing line replaced. I'll take a look at the rod guides on my rods because sometimes they'll get brittle and break and do all kinds of crazy stuff that you don't even realize. And I tell you something I had experienced, that's why I started checking these things, is, you'll tie a big $9, $10 spinnerbait on and you'll sling it out there. Next thing you know, your bait's sailing across the lake because your fishing line broke.
Yep.
And it's like, wow.
I was so bad for that. Like, whenever I first got into bass fishing, I didn't really learn knots and stuff at first. I would literally just tie them, like just a regular knot, and I would do it like 15 times. And then one day I think it was one of them Strike Kings. It was a heavy one. I think it was like an ounce. And I just reared it back, and I just let it fly, and you heard the psst.
Yeah,
I went,
there's a sound.
It gives that little.
yeah. I'm like, maybe I need to learn how to tie.
And then you're like, dang, boys, my bait just grew wings. So it's on the bank.
Yeah. It's
You
heartbreaking.
ever done that, Brendan?
I have done that, and then you're trying to fish it out instead of actually
Oh,
catching the fish.
Yep.
So I've actually done it in trees a few times,
Or
probably
them
more
tree
times than I
fish.
have.
Yeah, them tree fish are
What
deadly.
you mentioned knots. Like, what is your favorite knot?
Palomar knot. I think it's the most useful.
By far, I think so too.
And now that you say that, that's honestly that's the only knot I use.
The only one I don't like tying that on is a spinnerbait, just because it's weird.
Yeah.
But no, I do use a Palomar knot 97% of the time.
Yeah. I think that's the most commonly used one.
And you got the trilene knot that's pretty okay.
Yeah, that's probably something I should work on is knot tying. I think that
Dude, all kinds of methods.
yeah.
I tell you one that's rough is like tying, say you want to use a braid main line and you want to use a fluorocarbon leader.
Yeah.
Those can be tough knots until you get used to them.
Yeah.
Just going back to the off-season stuff, Jared, you just bought a fish finder.
I
And
did,
you're
yep.
actually going to be using it this summer in spring.
A big Lawrence.
Yeah.
Big
so
money.
have you actually installed that yet, or?
It's in the testing phases right now.
Okay.
I've pretty much got it installed, but
Okay.
it's in the testing phases to make it more efficient.
Yeah, I can't wait to check it out and see how it works. Which I mean, it's on your boat, but I mean, I'll be there too. So
Yeah, you'll be there.
we'll I can't wait to test that. We're probably gonna do a video as well on how to install one because I know a lot of people have questions.
It's
about how
got
to
side
install
scan. It's
Yeah.
got down scan. It's got chirp.
everything you want to
The
scan.
main reason I bought it was to find some crappie
Yeah.
because I think we're wanting to do
Yeah,
some crappie fishing.
definitely.
Oh
this year.
yeah, for sure.
It's not just on a boat; it's on a bona fide
It's on a bonfire.
SS-127. So
The greatest paddle kayak on the planet.
Have you purchased one yet, or is it still on the wish list?
it's still on the wish list.
It's on the wish list,
I'm
boys.
taking donations. I got a GoFundMe page if y'all want to donate
Oh, do
anything.
you really?
No,
Oh.
I don't know how to set it up.
So that'd be pretty awesome.
What's the a little off topic? What's the new kayak that Bonafide was coming out with? I remember it was the R something.
Yeah, the RVR.
RVR. that is
It's
right.
a river-specific boat, which
Yeah.
I mean you can use it on any body of water, but the way I take it, the way the hole and stuff is designed, it's
Yeah.
made to take those rapids and stuff and just stick right to the water while you're fishing.
Yeah, I was watching that video. That guy, he was at some big dam, and I mean the water was just like waves. It looked like, and dude, it was just cutting right through him.
We might have to take a trip to Canoe, Kentucky, and test one of those.
I love that place.
I do,
It's
too.
so nice. Canoe,
I'm like a
Kentucky,
kid in
if
a
you're
candy
watching,
store. Yeah,
like us.
go check Canoe, Kentucky out, guys. I mean, they got some really cool boats.
Yeah, it's cool down there, man. It's like, I mean, this real retro looking shop, and then you just walk down a stairwell, and there you are, this beautiful river in
The
Franklin
Elkhorn.
County.
It's
yeah.
actually the Elkhorn
Yeah, the
River.
Elkhorn. Yeah.
We'll have to take a
Beautiful.
trip.
So it's a pretty nice
Hey,
place.
we should take a trip up there and test one of those RVRs out.
We're gonna take a
pretty
trip
sure-
up there and buy a kayak. It's on my wish list.
All right.
That's on his wish list, man.
Sounds
I mean, when he gets his GoFundMe up and running.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
I
gonna
might
get
put
it.
an RVR on my wish list.
So guys, another thing I had in mind for the off season, I think it's good to reorganize your tackle boxes because I mean
Yep.
when you're fishing in the summer, spring, and fall, you're throwing baits everywhere. You may have a certain tackle box for your spinners and certain tackle box for your crawls, and you may get them mixed up. And I think it's just a good time to organize your tackle boxes a lot better.
Well, you seen what mine looked like the other day. You was here.
Yeah,
when
I mean that was
it was a mess.
everything in the world in it.
Just because you get done
Yeah.
fishing, you're just like, oh, well, I'm just gonna sling that in there. And
Right,
you forget
yeah.
about it.
Yep.
And then next time you go fishing, you're like, well, where's my,
Yeah.
where's my white spinner bait that I was throwing the other
Yeah,
day?
and I think it's a prime time in the off season for sure. Which a lot of people winter fish too. And
They
I know
do,
we
yeah.
don't do a lot of winter fish.
I don't really think there's an off season, and even
not
though we're
really
talking
off
about it, I guess just a time when you don't fish as much.
Yeah, exactly.
Which honestly, ours is the winter time. We ain't fished, and I ain't fished. I'll be honest, in like 2 or 3 months.
It's
was
been
the last
it's
time
been
I
a
did
couple
it.
months just because of
So,
work and
Yeah, work. but, yeah.
newborns and all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
But organization is very important. because you obviously need to find your baits when you need them. But, say you're out of one of your favorite baits. And say we're out of, watermelon red bandito bugs, and we're like, hey,
Ooh.
I need some more watermelon red bandito bugs.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's the time you would reorder your favorite baits to restock.
And some DH baits.
And some DH
Some
baits.
DH.
Magic.
Hey, he's gonna. Yeah, we got to get some of those.
Yeah.
We got to get some of those off him.
Yeah, definitely.
What about you, Nate?
What was the question? I'm sorry. I'm a little slap happy, guys. I'm sorry. What was the off season? The best way to prep for the off season?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, organization, like you said, is definitely a thing. It's honestly caught me at a standstill.
Well, let me ask you this: what kind of
You
baits
have
are
to-
you going to be using when you start going fishing? What do you think is going to be your go-to bait? When springtime comes, that you're going to have, already on
Chatterbait.
your boat and ready to go.
Chatterbait, buzzbait. Man, I didn't about DH Dustin, and that was the first time I met Dustin. Dude was knowledgeable. I mean,
Yeah, he knows.
by
his
no
stuff.
means am I Mike Ecanelli or Kevin Van Dam, by no means, but dude,
We know
I
that,
mean, this
yeah.
guy was talking. This guy was talking, and I'm over here like secretly like writing notes down.
He knows his stuff, man.
For sure.
But I agree, and I know it's a little like I'm agreeing with exactly the same thing they're saying. Organization is key, especially if you're not fishing a lot, because there's times like after I get done fishing, I'll basically just throw my crap in the little storage compartment, and then you come back and your hooks are rusted and your bait's just open, and it's just a good time to reorganize everything. And my father, which is a crappie guy, big time crappie fishing, they're big into restocking stuff. So like they'll buy jigs and stuff before they like start going to these crappie tournaments and stuff. And if we're in Lexington or somewhere, they'll stop at Cabela's and they'll resupply on everything, whether it be jigs, hooks. I know they're getting big into the buying the what is it? The little tackle boxes that's rust proof. Got the little like Z-rust strip.
Z-rust. That's what I use as the
Z-rust.
flambeau,
So
which is what Mike Iaconelli used.
yeah. So I guess it's just stuff like that restocking, because whenever you're fishing, especially hard, whether it be in the springtime and summertime, you're not wanting to have to go into Cabela's or Walmart or Bass Pro every day, and you're like, oh well, I got to get another pack of stick baits. You just go in there and you buy it like all in bulk.
Well, that's just like me, man. And I know we all keep our tackle boxes full of like tackle. But essentially, if you think about it, you only use certain baits mainly.
Oh,
Like for example, like on soft plastics, I'll have a black and blue flake. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'll throw a red and black flake in there, or I'll have my favorite color, like if water's clear, watermelon red flake, or just a green pumpkin. And so if you get out of those baits, and that's the main baits you use, you obviously need to restock them. That way you're prepared, not having to, wait for them to come in or whatever.
I think I have more baits that I don't use rather than the
Same.
baits I use. And it's just like, you're on Tackle Warehouse, you're looking, you see this bait and you think it looks cool. Like, what was it, Live Target? They come out with the duck. Like that little, it's like a duck. And I'm like, man, like, I don't really think I could catch much off of
They
it
got
around
the
here.
duck, the mouse.
Yeah, I actually
crazy
caught
stuff.
one off the mouse. I was at a nearby pond, a little like 3-acre pond. It really ain't a little pond. But I used that live mouse, and I ended up catching a little 4 or 5 pounder.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe we should do like a video challenge of that,
Yeah.
maybe.
I'm telling you, I would. And that, I mean, that duck, it ain't little. I mean, it's about the size of my hand. I mean, if you catch a bass off that,
Yeah,
it's gonna be a good one. Just
bass are predatory animals. And we was talking about spring, like pre-spawn. Bass are really aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you throw a little duck out there, and they're like, "Hey, that's a 3-course meal."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, and that's why I like the color. It's got some kind of red in it in the pre-spawn, is because it imitates some kind
Injured,
of dying like bait fish or blood or something like that. And where they're really aggressive, they love that stuff.
bluegill's another bait. Like when they're spawning, you take a bluegill, hook it right in the tail, and put it down there, let it swim around. Dude, it's.
And like a lot of times, and I know this kind of off subject, but a lot of times you gotta prepare your baits for where you're fishing.
Yeah.
Like some bodies of water, they may be on a shad bite.
Yep.
Some bodies of water, they may be on like a crawl bite. Some bodies of water, they may be like some kind of creature style, like lizards or,
Oh yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. I mean that's a good point. I mean, because you got to prepare those baits. You know.
I mean,
Because we've already been preparing trips where we're going to go.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
we're that's a good time in the
Well,
off season as well. Is
that's one of my off-season preparations,
Right.
planning your, planning where
planning
you're
out
gonna
your trips, planning out what kind of baits you're going to,
No
use
body
while
of
you're
water
there.
is the same. I mean,
No, right.
every body.
Yeah.
Willow Green in Madison County, it's different. There's
Green
you got
River's
Woods
tough.
Creek. Yeah,
until you get used to it. That's
Yeah.
because
yeah.
most of the fish stay towards the bottom there. It's the river channel's weird there, and when I first started fishing there, I was like, man, I can't do nothing.
Yeah.
But you got to fish those rock cliffs and the river channel stuff, and that's every body of water is different. You got to prepare differently for it.
You got to find that old man that's been there since like
Yeah.
the 70s, and he even knows like everyone there knows when places was built.
Yeah.
That's what you got to find.
Been there since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Well, we talk about rod and reels and baits. What about your boats? Like, y'all ever think about doing any maintenance on your boats?
Well, that's kind of what I was talking about at the beginning. I think you should definitely, clean up your boat in the off season. I think before you
Winterize
take
it,
it
yeah.
out, you should, take it to the car wash or whatever and wash it off. Get it prepped because you got to take care of your stuff. I mean, it'll wear out.
Well, on top of washing them, like, I don't know about you boys, but I use a 303 polish.
Yeah.
And so what I'll do is I'll wash it, and then I'll just spray it over with that 303, protect it, wipe it down, and that just protects the plastic. And
Oh yeah.
because the hull of your boat is important,
Yeah.
Right.
and it's plastic, so it can get brittle and it can, get weak, and then, it's important to clean it and make sure you protect it the best that you can, especially from the UV rays of the sun.
Yeah.
And,
Especially if you have these kayaks laying out, outdoors. I mean,
Which we don't do,
We've
by
got
the way.
our
No.
yeah, we've got our equipment indoors, luckily. But a lot of people just leave their kayaks laying outdoors, and they get
we got to take care of the bona fides.
Yeah, they put it like behind the house and flip it over. Then in the springtime, there's a little copperhead under it.
yeah,
Or use it for a garden bed. Use
Yeah.
yeah.
use the seat area for like a garden bed.
Yeah.
I've seen that. What adding on to protecting it, what about, checking all like your seat bolts and
Oh,
your
yeah.
handle bolts and stuff, make sure they're tight. Because, what if you get
That's
it out of the
important.
truck and your handle just breaks because, the boat was loose?
Jared is the real deal kayak owner. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, this guy's the real deal. First off,
Hey, I love it,
I
man.
didn't know what kind of caliber of guy I was around.
I'm very passionate about it, dude. I love it. You got to take care of your equipment, man.
And I agree. It is true. Which I mean, obviously, I don't have a bona
That's a small
fide yet.
investment.
I don't have a bona fide yet.
It's on the wish
But
list.
as far as like like bass boats, like my father's got
Well, yeah,
a
even
bass
bass
boat,
boats.
winterizing it and everything, and that's-
Charging your batteries.
yeah, it's true. So
Well, Nate, Jared's kind of like that 70-year-old man that we were talking about earlier that knows
Yeah.
everything about the place. I mean, he knows everything about the kayak.
You'll
been-
get there. You'll get there one day.
He's old and wise.
he's been around the world once, seen everything twice.
Yeah.
What? Working on the third time.
Oh my
Oh.
gosh.
Oh my god. You hear me?
Well, anything else you all want to add? I mean, obviously, we covered taking care of your stuff. We covered reorganizing.
The main thing is check your line,
Yep.
because brittle line is important to get rid of.
Yeah.
Check all your rod tips. Lube all your reels. Make sure you can find your bait when you need it, because if you can't find it, you can't use it. And then just make sure your kayak's intact and in good shape and ready to roll. Get you out on the water.
Ready to go. Make sure you got all your equipment installed. if you
And
wanna-
make sure you got a PFD, because Lord knows we've had a lot of kayak accidents here lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People drowning and stuff because they're
Yeah.
not wearing PFDs.
Make sure you get a lot of stickers to put on your kayak, because obviously a lot of more stickers you have, the better the fishermen you have.
Exactly.
You go to these lakes and these guys got like their whole kayak or even their bass boats covered in all these Abu Garcia stickers, and you're like, man, this guy knows
Or
what
wraps.
is
I mean, if
up.
you're going to wrap your kayak, this is a great time of the year to wrap a
Yeah,
kayak.
which we are going to do. I
Which,
think,
yeah,
maybe,
we are going
hopefully.
to do. We're in the process of trying to get our wraps for our kayaks right now, and we're going to have that done before spring at
We can
latest.
get our supplier on board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, I was just joking about the stickers. That was just me being
Yeah, I
me.
think you struck a nerve there over here.
Yeah, Jared, he is about to go off.
Yeah. You can just tell.
Hey, my track record's way better than your two's.
I'm fine with that.
As a matter of fact, if I remember correctly, the last time we went fishing, I was fishing. I looked over and you two were sword fighting with your paddles.
I just got done
Well,
taking
I
a
mean-
nap too. Dude, it was
Yeah.
that was
Yeah, you
probably
were taking a
that
nap
was like
at
one
one
of the
point.
best naps I've ever had.
I was
Well,
like,
you gotta have
no, no.
somebody. You gotta have somebody behind the camera too. That's usually me, since you all,
I just sit here. I sit here and look pretty.
you're just here. You're just here to
I'm
be
just
here.
here,
Glad
guys.
you're here.
No, it's just vibing, sleeping,
Just vibing.
chilling.
Yeah.
Just vibing. Well, guys, we appreciate you tuning in. Again, this is a little bit of a short episode, but we figured it was important to cover this topic. Some people, we have had questions. What do you do in the wintertime? Because there's always something to do,
Always something to
when
do.
you're fishing. So, like I said, we appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll be back with another episode here in 2 weeks. And like we always say, keep on yakking.
Tune in next time for Yakking Live. It's available on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and more. Wherever you go to find your favorite podcast. Play Kayak Fishing, like their Facebook page, and stay updated on what's happening. And as always, they say, keep on yakking.